breaking news. This is News Channel 5 at 10.
Tonight, investigators are on the scene of a deadly explosion in Wilson County. As you can see, this is a live picture from Sky 5 HD of that area in Lebanon. There's lots of damage to at least one home in this neighborhood.
We're hearing it was truly a scary situation.
Yeah, guys, sources are telling News Channel 5 this is being investigated as a targeted attack. Authorities, they are not saying much right now, but there are a lot of agencies out here investigating this, including the FBI, including THP, their bomb squad unit, and also TBI. There's multiple agencies that are involved in this, so this is definitely a high-profile incident. Sources are telling us this explosion came from something that was sent in the mail. Sources say that explosion killed one person and sent another to Vanderbilt via lifeline with serious injuries. McLean Christian Academy is just yards from this home. Here's the principal of the school describing what she heard.
I heard a big boom. Looked out the window, did not see anything. Thought someone might have actually backed into the building next to my office. But then when I came out the rest of the way to the street, I could see about 7 emergency vehicles in the yard. And when I left, there were 2 more entering. So I knew something pretty serious had happened.
All right, following up on our breaking news tonight, this is new live footage from Sky 5 HD over the scene in Lebanon in Wilson County of a deadly explosion at a home there. Here's what we know at this point. Todd Walker on the scene telling us that they have confirmed that one person has been killed. Another was sent to the hospital with serious injuries. This explosion at this home occurred around 5 o'clock tonight. And we know that now multiple agencies are on the scene with bomb squads, and they are investigating this as a targeted attack. Todd tells us the scene is on lockdown, and you can see the damage from the explosion. The backside of this home, windows just blown out. So a very serious incident. This is right near McLean Christian Academy in Lebanon. Tonight, an $8,000 reward is being offered for information about yesterday's deadly explosion in Wilson County. It killed an elderly man and critically injured his wife.
Meanwhile, federal, state, and local investigators continue to comb through evidence.
We have team coverage of this tragedy tonight with 2 crews on the scene. Chris Conti has more on the victims.
But we begin with Adam Gassimi, who has the latest from investigators. Adam?
Vicki, good evening. Investigators are not releasing very much information tonight, only that package showed up here about 5 o'clock yesterday, causing that deadly explosion. We do know tonight that the blast killed 74-year-old John Setzer and critically injured his 72-year-old wife, Marion. Tonight, we're told she's surrounded by family at Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville. Officials say they are still in the preliminary stages of their investigation, but many agencies from Wilson County, the TBI, ATF, and FBI are trying to figure out who could have sent a bomb to the elderly couple's home. We are learning more about the victims themselves. Our Chris Conti is here with us tonight to share what you learned about them today.
And Adam, people who knew the Setzer family well said that they just can't understand who would want to harm this elderly couple. Friends of John Setzer told us today that he was actually in failing health and had some kidney problems recently. It was on the verge of dialysis. Still, what no one here can understand is why anyone would want to target this family who called this house home for the last few years. A financial advisor by trade, Ken Caldwell's job is to offer folks guidance.
Yeah, it was a pretty big blast.
But today, Ken and his community were the ones searching for direction.
Sometimes there just aren't answers for things like this, and why it happens to good people.
Good people. That's what we heard over and over again today about John Setzer and his wife, Marion, who Ken knew well. They were good people.
I thought, this has got to happen to somebody else. It must be just a nightmare that I had, because this kind of thing doesn't happen to people like that.
Tonight, investigators are pleading for tips that might help answer who is responsible for a deadly package bomb sent to an elderly Lebanon couple. The explosion killed 74-year-old John Setzer and critically injured his wife, Marion. News Channel 5's Todd Walker is live at Vanderbilt Medical Center, and Todd family has been by her side all day.
Yeah, Rory, we have not gotten an update on Marion's condition in quite some time, but officials say she was brought to the hospital via lifeline in critical condition. Authorities are now offering an $8,000 reward for information on who is behind all of this.
Nearly a full day after the explosion, the update from officials left plenty of questions and not many answers. Who would do this and why?
The last people in the world that you would imagine to be a target of a package bomb like that.
Neighbors are left with the shock that someone would send a bomb to John and Marion Setzer.
We moved here from California 2 years ago to get away from that. And Middle Tennessee, really?
And that breaking news is out of Wilson County tonight, where we are about to learn new information about the explosion that killed John and Marion Setzer.
News Channel 5's Janet Kim is live at the sheriff's office there in Lebanon with the very latest.
Well, this press conference will get started any minute now. You can see the media have been gathered here. They're getting ready for this press conference to start. Multiple agencies are here working this case, from federal agents with FBI, ATF, the TBI, state and fire marshal's office, and the Wilson County Sheriff's Department. This, of course, after a package delivered to Vance Lane in Wilson County exploded in the home of John and Marion Setzer on Monday. John Setzer died on the scene. His wife died last night after suffering critical injuries. Now, Pastor Kevin Allmet has been counseling the Setzer family, and the couple had 3 daughters, a son, many grandchildren, all who have been in shock since this all happened.
I think another issue is this makes everyone feel a little violated. I think any crime can make the victims feel violated. A crime like this, I think, makes a lot of people feel violated.
Still a lot of questions. We expect those will be answered very shortly, and it looks like they have taken the podium, and we're going to listen in on this press conference that will get started here in seconds.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here. As everybody knows, on Monday, a tragic incident happened on Vance Lane here in Wilson County.
Now, with breaking news, this is News Channel 5 at 10.
We hope that it gives the family some closure. This particular case, maybe not the closure they were expecting or wanting, but in effect, at least now they do know what truly happened to their loved ones.
Closing in on a case and hoping for closure, all after a man is charged with planning the bomb that killed his in-laws. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston.
I'm Jessica Ralston. We begin tonight with breaking news. There has been a truly shocking arrest in the explosion at a home that killed an elderly couple in Wilson County.
Tonight, Richard Parker is in jail, charged with first-degree murder. He's accused of killing his in-laws, John and Marion Setzer. We have team coverage tonight with the family's reaction to the arrest and the events that happened today to bring Parker into custody.
We're going to first head out tonight to News Channel 5's Todd Walker with a look at how investigators cracked this case.
Yeah, Rory and Jessica, Richard Parker's behind bars tonight on $1 million bond. He was arrested in his own home. Investigators say this came down to good old-fashioned detective work. The evidence led them right to Parker, and he was just one door down.
The last time these men filed in front of the TV cameras, it was to say you should be on the lookout. This time, that warning is over.
We do feel like we have the single person responsible for committing this crime in custody.
An in-depth investigation that never left this property has landed the one and only suspect who lived on this property. Richard Parker, the 49-year-old son-in-law of John and Marion Setzer, was arrested this afternoon. Authorities say after days of investigating, the evidence led them to Parker. A grand jury agreed.
After hearing that evidence, they returned a 2-count indictment, a felony first-degree murder.
The list of charges include 2 more charges of premeditated first-degree murder and another count of possessing an illegal weapon for having the bomb. Investigators still won't say anything about why they think Parker planted it or what kind of history he may have had with his family, but they're sure the public is safe.
This device didn't arrive through any kind of shipping services, didn't arrive through the mails. It was placed there by our suspect, and so I think that should be a relief that there aren't other devices showing up around this region.
That may be a relief for some, but there is still a family missing 2 important members, and now the third is the one in front of the cameras.
We would be remiss if we did not send out condolences to the Setzer family.
Now, before we knew he was considered a suspect, I had been trying to get a hold of Richard Parker myself. The first time I called his home, someone picked up and then immediately hung up right after that. The second time I called, I got Parker on the phone, but he politely declined to talk to me. Now, Chris Cannon has been looking into Richard Parker's background and also speaking with family friends. He's live over at the scene where this all began on Monday. Chris?
And Todd, tonight I can see lights on inside the Setzer home, and just behind that, lights are also inside the Parker home. Now, I'm told that the Setzers moved here a few years ago to be closer to their daughter Laura, her husband Richard, and their 4 grandchildren. I'm also told that Richard Parker and John Setzer actually ran a business out of this property, and tonight no one has any explanation as to what police say happened here on Monday. No one ever expected to hear Richard Parker's name as a suspect. He was the son-in-law.
The Parker family have been a vital part of our congregation for many, many years, as the Setzers were for many years, and involved in ministry, all of those things.
But Thursday, the 49-year-old was arrested and charged with killing John and Marion Setzer, and shocking does not begin to explain reactions to the news.
Can't understand, have no idea why this occurred, had no clue of it, nor did anybody else. But I trust that he and God are having some conversations as well.
Not only was Parker the Setzer's son-in-law, he is said to be John Setzer's business partner in a company called Legacy Restorations. Now he is also named as his killer.
I don't want us to lose sight in the midst of this frenzy regarding the perpetrator of the fact that this family is holding strong in their faith in God and also loving each other.
Pastor Allmett spent time with both the Setzer and Parker families after the arrest. Pastor Ripsky never met Richard Parker, but he knew the Setzers very well, and he knew how very kind they were.
I can't imagine the torment of a soul that would have wanted to harm them. So what was disturbing in the way that they died now is even more disturbing because of whose hands they died at.
And Richard Parker does have a criminal history. 21 years ago, he was convicted in an arson case in Giles County. He served 4 years probation for that conviction. This is still an active and ongoing investigation. It may be some time before we learn why police feel Richard Parker killed his in-laws. We're live in Lebanon tonight. Chris Cannon, News Channel 5 HD.
We've also learned that George Cade was John Setzer's law partner for 12 years. They met in the Army Reserves. He says the Setzers tragically lost their 3-year-old son after he was attacked by a dog in the early 1970s. But the couple used that terrible experience to reach out and help others.
John and Marion, for years, whenever there was anything in the news about some child dying, either accidentally or by illness, they would go call on that family and provide comfort, and just purely as volunteers. So that was the kind of person that John was, and then Marion was. They were a remarkable team, deeply committed to each other.
Funeral services for John and Marion Setzer are still being finalized tonight. Of course, we will bring you the very latest information on this investigation in the coming days, both on air and online at newschannel5.com.